Normally, I buy all my vegetable plants at a local nursery. However, they don't have everything that I need. And I'm gonna plant those seeds indoors today, so join me. So there's a few things I want to plant. And the first one is regao or culantro, which is longleaf cilantro. And this takes about 21 days to germinate. So I want to start them now. So when the last frost happens here in upstate New York, I'm in zone 5A, by the way. When that happens, then I can transplant them outside to one of my raised beds. The next one is a seasoning pepper, ají dulce, and I'm also gonna try pigeon peas or gandules. Now, like I said a second ago, I'm in zone 5A. Our last frost is supposed to be May the 8th. However, last year we had a last frost on May the 21st. And I kept looking at the weather forecast like 5, 6, 7 days ahead of time to make sure that I did not transplant anything outside before our last frost. Had I transplanted those plants before our last frost, some of those plants would have been damaged. I know that some of my family and friends are going to plant the regao or longleaf cilantro. You want to do it now because it takes 21 days for the seeds to germinate, and then it takes another month or so for the seeds to grow to about an inch. Once you transplant them outside, then they take off. But the temperatures have to be at a minimum 50 or above at night, okay? So I have this greenhouse kit that I picked up at the local hardware store. So these are pea pellets. They're about a ½ inch thick. So I'm gonna add some water, and once they get to about 2½ inches, you can drain any excess water. Now we're just gonna wait. So I added a little bit more than 2½ quarts of water to this greenhouse kit. Now what I'm gonna do at each pellet, I'm gonna move back the netting a little bit, and then I'm gonna make a hole, maybe about a ¼ inch deep, and I'm gonna put the seeds in there. All right, so this is regao seeds or longleaf cilantro. Oh, and by the way, I got these from Desde Mi Huerto in Isabela, Puerto Rico. And I'm gonna leave a link down below for those of you that wanna buy these seeds. Now these are super tiny, look at that. Very, very small. So what I'm gonna do, I don't know if you can even see that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop 4 or 5 seeds in here in each one, just in case some do not germinate. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lightly cover that hole with peat moss, like so. Right now I have 8, and I'm gonna do 12 of each. So let me open these up as well. And guys, it doesn't matter what type of seeds you do. The process is the same. But however, keep in mind that these take a long time to germinate and to grow. That's why I'm doing it now. If you have peppers and tomatoes, you may want to do that at the end of March, assuming that you live in a cold climate like I do. Now, if you live in the South, obviously you want to do this all year. Okay, so I want to do the exact same thing with the seasoning pepper and pigeon peas. I'll be back in a second. Now guys, for the seasoning pepper, I have all these seeds, hundreds of seeds that I saved from last year, from my peppers last year. So yeah, that's a lot, isn't it? And guys, again, you want to throw in maybe 3 or 4 seeds in case one of them does not germinate. Better to be safe than sorry. That's a lot of seeds. For pigeon peas, I'm just gonna do 2. I'm not gonna do a whole lot. I don't have that many seeds. And what happens if you get 2 plants, or 3 or 4? Let them grow for like a week or two, and once they are about an inch or two high, you want to cut the smaller plant. Keep the stronger one or the bigger plant. Okay, so I'm done with this greenhouse kit. Now we're gonna put the cover over it. And now I'm gonna put this in a warm place out of direct sunlight. Once they start germinating, then you wanna put it by the window or grow lights, which I have downstairs. So before I cover this, I'm gonna make labels. That way I know what they are. I know I have 3 rows of each. And now I can put the lid on. So before we go any further, I want to go check for eggs. A few days ago, I had to put these pads in here. I got them in Amazon. Now the reason I got these pads, see, they're thick, is because it doesn't matter what I throw in here. It could be pine shavings, straw, hay, sand, rocks, what have you. Some of my chickens will kick it out. And I can tell right now that they're having a hard time kicking this out. So it's working, it's doing its job. And right now, I have 2 eggs. Blue eggs are fake ceramic eggs. I get that question all the time. I have 2 here. Let's go check the silkies. And by the way, guys, Lila is feeling much, much better. Let's check the other coop. Now I have the silkies locked up. However, the big chickens like to come in here. I leave this door open and they also lay eggs in here. Yep, and there is one more. And as for the silkies, I did have one this morning at 7 o'clock this morning. It's noon now and I see one more here. So 2 silkies, 3 standards. That makes for 5 eggs today. But what if you don't have a greenhouse kit? Well, you can get biodegradable seed starting pots like this, or solo cups. They do the same thing. So I put all my pots in this plastic container. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a potting mix to fill them up. You can use your favorite potting mix. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money on it. I just happen to have Miracle-Gro, but any inexpensive potting mix that you can find will be okay. You can even create or make your own potting mix. But I prefer to buy it already pre-made. So here I want to plant most of my gandules or pigeon peas. I'm just going to drop a couple of seeds in each pot. I have extra, so I'm going to do 3. Just to be on the safe side. Now I'm gonna plant some Peruvian seeds, ají amarillo and ají panca. I've had luck with this one, but not with this one. This one has been very hard to grow up here. Hopefully this will be a better year. And I'm gonna plant these in 5 of the pots back there. And on the last pot, I wanna plant some seeds that I got from North Carolina. It's ají dulce as well. From Carmen. Here they are. Yeah, they're tiny. Now I got these seeds a couple of years ago and I forgot all about them, but they're still good. I'm just gonna put a little bit of potting mix on top, then water a little bit, and store it. Everything's labeled. We're good to go. Okay, so now I'm in my basement and this is where the seeds are gonna germinate and they're gonna be here for at least 2 months before I transplant them outside. Now I have these grow lights here that I used last year and I have 4 shells here that I can use to plant even more seeds. But I'm gonna keep it to a minimum this year because later in May I wanna buy all my vegetable plants from my local nursery. This is only for demonstration purposes. I'm about to unplug this light. And obviously, if you don't have grow lights, you want to keep yours close to a window where it can get light for at least 10, 12 hours a day. I've seen a lot of people put their seed pots on top of refrigerators where it's nice and warm. Right here in this space, because I have all my heating equipment here, it's about somewhere between 75 and 80, so it's pretty warm. So if you want to plant Rickow, do it now. Okay, so every 2 or 3 days, I'm gonna come here and make sure that each pot is moist, and the pellets as well. You don't want it too wet, you don't want it too dry. Moist is what you're looking for. And hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll see some germination here.